I don't envy you doing the live streaming. I've done a little of that. It is a pain. It is a lot of moving parts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn. We are coming to you live from Yavapai College. Yavapai College is one of our sponsors, along with Northern Arizona Healthcare, the Kling Family Foundation, BMO Bank, the City of Sedona, and we'd like to thank all our restaurateurs and hoteliers for participating in this year's festival, along with our volunteers as well. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of the Sedona Film Festival. And joining me now is Q with two films, right? Sherry, which we just watched, and Paving Tundra. Paving Tundra, excuse me, Tundra. And so thank you so much for being with us. And just understandably that you are here from Flagstaff.
I am, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here. And I know Flagstaff has had a lot of snow. So we're glad that you actually made it here.
Yeah, I grew up in Anchorage and in Alaska, and I was laughing day before yesterday. I couldn't get down here because the roads were all closed, and I was like, this is a average day in Anchorage, but it really shut down the city. So we've had a heck of a year, over 100 inches thus far.
I just can't get over that. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so tell me about, so you directed Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
and then what was your role in this film?
In Paving Tundra, I'm the co-director along with Jamie Dittmar.
Okay.
And really it's Jamie Dittmar's film and vision. I was able to do what I could to help her process, but for the most part, really the credit belongs to Jamie for sticking it out. It was a 6-year journey, and that some of that has to do with the politics of the issues that the film brings up. Holding it till we held the film for its release till it could really be a call to action.
You know, in watching the film, it reminded me a lot of the Dakota Pipeline, you know, in so many different ways. I mean, so we're talking about Alaska, and we're talking about mining copper, and, you know, of course, the Dakota Pipeline is, you know, it's just on native land. And now we're talking about, you know, the natives to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just found that correlation. But in participating in the film and co-directing it, what was your take on the issues that were actually happening?
Whew, that's a heavy question. I mean, Alaska is riddled with different environmental fights, and it's also has a bounty of some of the most sought-after natural resources in the planet. So the Ambler Mining District, they call it the string of pearls that is diamond-studded, meaning that there's just an immense amount of minerals and different, ultimately copper, some of the richest copper deposits in the world. Yet it also is home to some of the last intact ecosystems we have. In this particular area, it's probably the most, I can never quite confirm it, I've done the math, but with the combined protected areas that are around the Brooks Range, ultimately you have some of the most intact ecosystem left in the world. You have indigenous communities that are still living by subsistence, and if you were to put a road in there, you would fracture those ecosystems, you would fracture those communities, and thus we would lose these forever. And we're a species with opposable thumbs, and we have a tendency to overrun generally everything that we get our hands on. And there's places that we need to be left wild, and this is one of those places.
Yeah, because it's also interrupting the migratory of a lot of the animals that come up that way. So
Yeah.
that's a huge concern as well.
Yeah, you have the western caribou herd, which is the largest caribou herd in the world, and as one of the most interesting things that I witnessed when we were interviewing folks, we spent a little over 2 months out with the communities. We used pack rafts to paddle 2 different rivers, and we spent time with the folks in these indigenous communities. And one woman in particular, she was a granny, and who knows how old she was, but she talked about in the 50s when she started seeing moose north in her village. Ultimately, to have moose in her village meant that there had to be willows growing, and it had warmed up. Even in the 50s, we were seeing that effect of our industrialization. And I just thought that was a really telling reality. In her lifetime, she saw an animal being introduced that was typically in the southern part of the state. And it's a powerful place, and our hope is that the film can bring some education and awareness to the importance of keeping it wild.
Yeah. So we do have a trailer, so let's take a look at the trailer and we'll
Yes.
talk more. Okay, awesome.
You know, you ain't talking to me. You're talking to generations before me. I'm just voicing what was put in my heart. They call it Inuktitut. It's the way we live. The way we live is changing.
Alaska is all about resources. It's about oil and gas, mining, fishing, timber, and birds. That's what you do in Alaska. There's nothing else to do up there.
The Bureau of Land Management, or BLM, is still looking into creating a proposed 200-mile Ambler Road that would connect northwest Alaska with the Dalton Highway and Fairbanks.
Once you build a road, it's pretty hard to unbuild a road. The mine could peter out, but the road's probably going to be there as long as people are interested in having it there.
We're going to get those miners back to work. I'll tell you what. We're going to get those miners back to work.
Wow. So, is the road actually, is it built or is it still in process of being built?
It's not built. It's just in theory right now, and that's ultimately the point of the film, is to bring awareness to this plight and keep it from being built. It would be the second largest road in Alaska's history if it was to be built, and ultimately, the Dalton Highway that runs from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay. So it would run perpendicular to that, and that road was started illegally. We discussed that a little bit in the film, and ultimately it was supposed to only be an industrial road, and the road to the Ambler Mining District actually doesn't make sense in a lot of ways. It's probably, in theory, or one of the theories would be that it's a red herring ultimately to bring more sports fishing and sports hunting in the area. If you really wanted to extract those minerals, you could run a railway or a road to the coast and ship the minerals down. So by putting the road all the way from the Dalton Highway, that seems to have other realities associated with it. I mean, we can only speculate on that. But as of right now, the proposed 225-mile road is not built, and it would be our hope that it does not get built. Yeah.
So, and then also your other film, Sherry, how did you get involved with that?
Sherry is an amazing being. Her kids and her family, ultimately, her family and her employees, really wanted to write her a love letter. And they asked me to direct that film. And we had a working relationship through Paving Tundra, and I'm close friends with her kids, and they reached out, and I was honored to do my best to tell some of Sherry's story There was a lot of things left on the cutting room floor, as they say, but trying to keep that through line. And she's just a force of nature, and it was a true honor to do a little bit to tell some of her story.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe there's a part 2.
It
Sherry
could be.
part 2.
There could be. There's many stories that we did not tell that I would love to.
Yeah, she's a dynamo.
She is, absolutely.
So tell us, how could we find out more about your film?
Yeah, in regards to Sherry, it's not online yet. We have the trailer online and a list of places that you can see the film in person on Alpaca's website, so Alpaca Sherry. And then with Paving Tundra, it's on Vimeo. It's a Vimeo staff pick. On the Vimeo staff picks reference, there's links, and I would say NPCA, National Parks Conservation Association, Ambler Road, or the brooksrangecouncil.org. And those are where you can really find areas where you can have calls to action.
Okay, and then is it screening anywhere this week?
It screened on Wednesday and on Monday here at the festival, and so as of now, I don't believe it will screen again. And I would like to just end with, this film really is spearheaded and the brainchild of Jamie Dittmar, the co-director, and it is really for the communities in Alaska, and I feel like she did this amazing job of being a liaison between the tribal communities and the film team, and ultimately they have taken the film as their own, and it's being really shown and shared throughout those communities and throughout Alaska, and that is a true honor to have played just a small part in Jamie's bigger vision.
Well, thank you, Q, for bringing us a film. Thank you, Jamie, for your work in the film as well. And we appreciate you coming here and being
Thanks
part
for
of the
having
film
us.
festival.
Yeah.
And don't forget to watch us live on Facebook, and also follow us, hashtag SIFF23 and Sedona Film Fest 23. We'll be back with more from the Sedona Film Festival after this.